A suicide bomber in Pakistan killed at least 70 people and wounded more than 100 in an attack on mourners gathered at a hospital in Quetta. Eyewitnesses say the bomber struck as a crowd of mostly lawyers and journalists crammed into the emergency department to accompany the body of a lawyer who was the former president of the Regional Bar Association. He had been shot. Financial Times correspondent in Pakistan Farhan Bakhari described what happened as the people gathered to support him at the hospital.
A suicide bomber wearing a suicide jacket, apparently with at least 8 kilograms of explosives, arrives at the scene, goes right in the middle of this crowd and blows himself up and killed more than 70 people, at least 70 people so far.
And because of the nature of what was already happening at the hospital, these were lawyers, journalists, family members, friends.
Absolutely, a big crowd of people, a few of them known to me personally, and they just arrived at the hospital as an expression of goodwill, support for the lawyer who'd been killed just a couple of hours before. The journalists were there for coverage, and that's when this dreadful incident happened.
Farhan, who did you know who was there, and are they okay?
Well, one of them, unfortunately, a young TV cameraman whom I knew, just 26 years old, he's died. And this is somebody for whom I developed a great deal of affection and respect. I'd met him a number of times. He came from a very poor family background, and just through sheer hard work, made it through the difficult world of TV journalism these days. A very tragic story.
Farhan, when these people are going to this much trouble, and when it is so premeditated and so willful, what is the end game? What are they hoping to achieve, and why?
John, I wish I could have I could give you a half sensible answer to that, because that's a question which I've asked militants as well. And believe it or not, many of them have turned around and come up with a bizarre answer. For them, this is a way to paradise. This is a way to heaven, that they create mayhem, that they kill innocent people who in their eyes are sinful, and this is their route to heaven. What can you say in response to such utter and absolute madness? This is madness. There's no other way to describe this.
And it's madness that it's almost impossible to combat. A suicide bomber wearing a suicide vest walking into a crowd. How can Pakistan possibly address this?
That's a good question, to which sadly and tragically there are no good answers yet. For the past 2 years, the Pakistan Army has fought militants and has done what appears to be a good job in terms of taking back territory from militant groups on the Afghan border. But beyond that, you really need to completely revamp the civil policing and administrative structure. And that is where politicians have to play a much smarter game than what they're doing right now. What is the difference between Pakistan and a country like New Zealand, for example, when it comes to policing on the streets? Well, the biggest difference is that in a country like New Zealand, you have policemen who are trained much better. There are mechanisms for internal security and internal controls within police departments. Tragically, in Pakistan, those mechanisms are not there. And last but not the least, the police is also highly politicized, working not in the interest of the public, but mostly to promote the interests of influential politicians. And this is the mess that you get at the end of the day. The police in Pakistan today does not even appear to have a functional, well-run internal intelligence gathering network that would take them to gather timely information on what is going on in different neighborhoods. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Farhan Bakhari, who is the Financial Times correspondent in Pakistan, talking to us a short time ago.